Hi, it's Karen with Living Our Dream Homestead, where today we're going to be making old-fashioned Christmas butter cookies. If you haven't yet subscribed to my channel, please click the button down below. Well, let's go ahead and get started. First thing we need to do is we need to turn on our oven to 300 degrees. And we are going to be using a cookie sheet today, and we are going to be lining it with parchment paper, like so. So let me go ahead and turn around the camera so I can show you up close how to make these delicious, old-fashioned Christmas butter cookies. First thing we need to have is we need to take a large bowl, and in it I have 1 cup of unsalted butter that I have left out at room temperature. To this we are going to be adding 3/4 cup of superfine sugar. I'm actually using this one. It's called C&H Pure Cane Baker's Sugar. It's ultra fine. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in with the butter. To this butter and sugar, we're going to add in 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Now it does call for fine salt. I'm just using regular salt because that's all I have, but if you can find the fine salt, that's what the recipe calls for. Now we are going to go ahead and take our mixer. I've got just a hand mixer that I'm using. If you have a mixer that's got the paddle attachment, that is the one that the recipe recommends, but we're just going to use this one. It should work fine. And we are going to go ahead and beat the butter, the sugar, and the salt on medium speed until creamy. As you can see, the butter looks creamy. We are now going to go ahead and add in 2.5 cups of all-purpose flour that had to be sifted. I ended up using just a sieve, works just as well like a sifter, and I've got it right there. So we're going to take about 3/4 of that sifted flour, and we are going to put it into our butter mixture. We are going to go ahead and beat on low speed. Now we need to go ahead and add in the rest of the flour. We can do about a spoonful at a time, again beating on low speed. Your batter should look like this. We are now going to go ahead and turn this on a lightly floured surface, and we are going to knead lightly until smooth. Here's what I'm talking about. When I started to knead it, some of it does kind of come apart, because again, everything was, if you saw, it was more like small grains of like sand. So you just need to keep on pushing it together, you know, on a floured surface. I'm just using a flouring cutting board, but you can do just the counter or whatever else you have. Now I'm going to go ahead and take this dough, and I'm going to put it in between 2 pieces of parchment paper, and I'm going to go ahead and roll it out to whatever thickness you would like, and then I'm going to use some cookie cutters. Now again, it depends on how thick you want your cookies. You know, how thin you're going to roll the dough. Let's see if I got that. Then you'll take out your cutout cookie, and then you'll put it down on the parchment paper. And when we put them on here, we need to go ahead and space them apart, like about 1.5 or inches, 1/2 inch, something like that. So I'll go ahead and work on the rest of these cookies. Now if you start to cut a cookie and it totally falls apart and the dough feels sticky, then I would go ahead and then put your dough back into the refrigerator for like 15 minutes just to get it to not be, so sticky, and it will be able to hold its shape better. But this, like I said, this cookie dough seems to do really well, and it is not sticky. Now that I got all my cookies onto the cookie sheet, this is where they talked about in the recipe that you could put some sanding sugar on top of the cookies before you bake them in, so they'll make more of a glistening, appearance. They talked about you can either use an egg wash and brush the top of the cookies, or you could use water. So I'm actually going to be using water, and I'm going to go ahead and do the first one. So I'm just going to, that's probably a little bit too much water there, but I'm going to put a little bit of water on there. And instead of sanding sugar, because the sanding sugar, when I looked it up, had a lot of artificial ingredients, and of course I want to stay away from those artificial ingredients. I'm probably going to butcher the name. It's called turbinado cane sugar. Now this is pure cane sugar. It says that it has more of like a molasses flavor, and it's not processed or refined like standard cane sugar. So it should be hopefully pretty good. So we're going to go ahead and then take some of that here. I'm just going to kind of use a spoon, and I'm going to go ahead and kind of sprinkle it on top of my star here. Okay, like so. I'll do part of them to show you what it looks like. Now we'll go ahead and put these cookies in a 300-degree oven, and we will bake them for 15 to 25 minutes. And then I will show you when they're done. The cookies are all done. As you can see, it looks like more of a shimmer, more of a, as you say, a darker color there on the cookies. Now, if you didn't want to put any sanding sugar or this other turnip band, that other sugar that I put on for the top, then you can go ahead and make like a royal icing or a confectionery sugar icing to go on top of the cookies. We will go ahead and let these sit on the cookie sheet for 5 minutes before we move to a wire rack to completely cool. Well, let's go ahead and try these old-fashioned Christmas butter cookies. Now I'm going to go ahead and try the one with that sugar that's on top. Now this is the first time that I've had this sugar, but of course I've made butter cookies before. So let's see how it tastes. You can see a little bit of the shimmer on there. Of course it looks a little bit more like, again, discolored. It's delicious. I don't want to eat the whole thing. I haven't had lunch yet, but it is good. I will leave the recipe down below in the description where I found it. I hope that everyone has a Merry Christmas. And thank you for watching. This was Karen with Living Our Dream Homestead. I hope you have a good day.